What is up, guys? It's Ron and Roger back at the Dr. Pepper Pub, and today we're going to be covering 2018's The Meg. This is with Jason Statham and Rainn Wilson, and this is about a group of aquamarine biologists, something like that, who are either trying to get rid of or scare away or kill a giant shark.
Yeah, this is a really entertaining film. I really enjoyed it. I saw it in theaters on my own because I don't have any friends. But I really I really enjoyed the action and stuff like that. Like, this is a really fun film. Like, I could just put this in my Blu-ray player anytime and I could just enjoy it. Like, what do you think of the film?
I thought it was definitely fun, and it was definitely entertaining, and I had a smile on my face through a lot of the movie because my mom scares easily, and I was watching the movie with my mom in theaters, and she just like freaks out at any time, and some of the suspenseful scenes, my mom like jumped and. There were about 8 people in the theater total, and at one point, my mom had done it so many times that people behind us even joined in with me with laughing because it was pretty fun. I definitely enjoyed the movie. It was crazy, and it was unrealistic, but in a good way.
Yeah, especially like the scene where. Yeah, I'm really rushing through this, but the ending scene where Jason Statham just...
And that's it for this week. Catch us next week on...
But like the scene where he kills the Meg and like stabs him like in the eye or something, and when he's like up in the air, that's really unrealistic, but it's so fucking badass and so cool. Like in the theater, I was like, oh shit, that's just fucking awesome. But like when I thought of it later, I was like, oh, that's really unrealistic. But it's still awesome.
I did think it was funny that there were 3 different occasions where Jason Statham does a heroic dive into the water, and there's this one where he just like swims directly towards the shark. And then, like, he's getting away, and he barely gets away. And it did a very good job, I would say, at keeping the suspense of the movie. I mean, obviously, you know the main guy isn't going to die. But it kept up that level of excitement for a while to me.
Yeah. Wow, this movie did not scare me, though. Did it, like, scare you?
Not really. Part of that, I don't really scare easily. Well, mostly not as much with these. Jump scares don't really get me, but part of the reason, like I said earlier, was that my mom was on edge the entire movie. So I was laughing a lot more than I had a lot more laughter than fear.
Yeah, I don't get scared easy as well because like my favorite genre is horror, so nowadays nothing really scares me all that much. But I really did enjoy it, and like the jump scare with the octopus at the beginning, like that made me like that freaked me out for a second. But that's a jump scare, so that's not really fear or anything like that. Like, it happens, you get scared, and then you laugh, so it's not like it made an impact on me. But it was extremely loud, especially in IMAX.
Oh yeah, I would personally consider those more of a. I consider those more startles than scares to me. It's more like you know, and then you like jump for a second. You're not really afraid, just like that it caught you off guard.
No, like a fear, like you get actually actual fear for something when there's like a tension. So like the tension before a jump scare, like the quiet moments, those cause fear. So if you have like a if you have like a jump scare incoming and you just know it's gonna be there, then you get scared. But when the jump scare happens, you just laugh and it's like, okay, that just happened. Now I'm not afraid of the Nun or any movies with a lot of jump scares in it.
Yeah.
But what do you think of
probably,
the? Go ahead.
Probably the most fear-inducing scene might be after like the boat falls over something and they think they killed it, and then there's a couple guys hanging out in the water and they're just talking, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, I know the shark's coming back because I've seen enough movies to know how things go.
Yeah.
And with Chekhov's gun, for anyone who hasn't heard of it, it's basically the thing in film and literature and whatever, is that if you show something to the audience, the readers, the people watch the movie, whatever, it's going to be used later, pretty much, unless it's like a red herring or something that you're just using to fake them out. But when they're in the water for that long of a time, I know it's not just going to be a joke. So I'm just waiting, and I can tell like the shark's going to come, and then I'm like, oh no, he's gonna. But I was actually surprised at really how many people died, because like they killed off the one guy in the boat. I mean, the two guys at the beginning, then the one guy in the boat, and then the Rainn Wilson's character, and then they killed like half the crew basically.
Yeah, they did. Like only Jason Statham's character and this like Chinese little girl and the woman, only they really survived, or at least from what I remember.
Yeah, them and then her father, and that was pretty much it.
All right. Would you have rather seen this movie be PG or rated R?
I kind of liked it as PG-13. I thought it's kind of one of those movies where it reminded me a little bit of the style of Fast and Furious, where it's like it's action and it's suspense, but it's also like they're gonna do unrealistic things, they're gonna do crazy stunts and wacky fight scenes and whatever, and to me that made it was just better off as a oh, give me 1 second, I have my alarm going. But it was to me it was better off as a alarm and dismissed. No, dismissed. Dismiss. I can't. Did I? Okay. Okay, it's over. I prefer it as PG-13. I can't remember the rest of my train of thought, but yeah. What about you? Would you like to have seen this as kind of more bloody, maybe gorier R rating?
I would, but really when you think about it, it's a Meg. It's not like it's Jaws where you can just have a shark tearing people apart. Like he could fit like 50 people in his mouth at once. So like really he doesn't really have to chew on it. You can just swallow all of those people at once, and it really doesn't have to chew. So I don't see how they could have gotten gory scenes actually. Like maybe a scene of people laying in his mouth, and then his mouth closing or something. That would have been pretty cool. But really, that wouldn't really fit the summer blockbuster and colorful style, which I really liked actually. Because this movie is
well with the tone it had.
Yeah, this movie is like a Transformers or like a Fast and the Furious movie, but with a shark.
Yeah, pretty much. Instead of robots and cars, it's just with sharks.
Yeah. A very big shark, but still a shark. What do you think of the way the mag was discovered?
I thought it was. I don't really know much about marine biology or whatever, but I thought it was at least an interesting plot point how they were like down, way at the bottom of the ocean, because it to me seems not maybe not a creature that size, but just that the creature would be down there and that as a means of discovering it. I thought that was somewhat realistic because there are still parts of the earth where like we can't even go down far enough to discover what's in there with the oceans. So I thought I did enjoy that part.
Yeah, I really like the suspense in the scene where they are down there, especially the scene where they're getting them out of there. And there was like a lot of suspense over there, like with the lights and stuff.
To me, underwater scenes, dark underwater scenes can be some of the most fear-inducing, especially if you have a very quiet or no soundtrack at all playing over them, because it's just like I think of this one thing, the same thing kind of with space, because I think of this one game, Call of Duty Black Ops, and in that there's this one zombie map called Moon, and normally if you've ever played it, it's you're running around, there's lots of gunshots, your characters are saying stuff, and there's just zombies, like and all that stuff. There's a lot going on, but on this one map, Moon, near the beginning, you have to wear this this astronaut helmet, and it's just so quiet that it's like the silence is almost deafening, and I think getting that same effect with underwater can really amplify kind of the suspense of the movie.
Yeah, true. Like, you can do a lot of suspense underwater because there's like nowhere to go. You can't really call for anyone except if you have like a helmet and stuff. But it's kind of like the Alien tagline, like the tagline for the first Alien movie is in space, no one can hear you scream. Underwater, nobody can either, except of course if you have a helmet and stuff and a radio and stuff like that. But what do you think of the pace of the film?
Well, I think the pace I did enjoy. I thought it for the most part, kept events going at a good speed. It wasn't like they were trying to rush anything. It almost felt like they ran out of things to do too early, though, because like they kill the shark halfway. This is spoilers for anyone, but you probably know that if you're watching this video. But they kill the shark a little over like halfway through the movie. So if you haven't seen it, you're probably thinking like, what else could happen? It's the Meg. They killed the Meg. Well, then there's just another shark. There's just like okay, you did it, now do it again. And I did think that part was a little bit contrived, but there's like, oh, there's a 1 in a million like lifetime, 1 in a million shark down here, and there's like, oh, there's another one. It's like, how unlucky are we? I did think that part was kind of a little bit of a weak writing, but otherwise, I did enjoy the pacing of the movie.
Yeah, me too. It kept the action going. Like, it always had interesting scenes. It never really dragged or anything. Like you said with the scene where he's dead, but oh no, he isn't really dead, or like there's another shark.
Yeah.
Like the scenes in between where he dies and there's another one. Those scenes weren't boring though. Like it still kept its pace going.
Yeah.
And in the book, the Meg is actually completely white, but due to like CGI problems and stuff like that, and it not looking realistic enough, they just went with like a gray white collar.
It was probably also for diversity, because if you have like an all white cast, including the shark.
Then the sharks would all come out of the water and just protest at the premiere, like, "Hey, there are gray sharks here too."
Hashtag gray sharks matter. But yeah, I thought it was some of the stunts were a little bit unbelievable, but the rest of the movie kept up that pace. It was like, it wasn't like out of place to have Jason Statham riding 40 feet up in the air off of the on a jump, or him like barely escaping the thing 3 times, or these giant constructions in the sea collapsing, or these crazy explosions and barely getting away. To me, they were unbelievable, but they weren't out of place. Like, when you watch the movie, that's how the movie was. So it didn't really, I didn't really have a problem with those.
This movie also really reminded me of The Abyss at some point, which we'll actually be discussing next week. But The Abyss is like my second favorite movie, if anyone didn't know that. But it really reminded me of that movie. And at the time, when I watched this movie in theater, I was really like The Abyss was. I just kept watching it over and over again because I just loved it. Like, at one point, I had nothing to do, so I watched The Abyss, and then it stopped, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch it again. But like, I watched the director's cut, so I could just compare it. And I also read the novelization, so I really was in like a The Abyss mood when I watched this movie. So that's probably another reason why I really like the film so much, because it really reminds me of that movie.
I have not yet seen the Abyss, but I can. I'll let you know on the next podcast once I see it. If there are any similarities, or if I get like the same feeling, I'll make sure to let you know. And you, audience, or like the 3 people watching that.
our fandom.
What did you think about like the length of the movie? Do you think it went on too long, or could have gone longer? Or do you think it was like just right?
I think it was actually just the right length. Like, it just had a first act, a second act, and a third act. And really was a pretty basic, pretty basic in terms of, it clearly just had the first act where you get a backstory, and then he comes back. Then the third act where he dies, but he doesn't really die. And then the third act, which is the climax and stuff, on the beach and stuff. So it really has a basic sort of layout to it. And I think it actually, just at the right runtime. Like, did you think it was too long or too short or something?
Not at all. I thought this was, I think this was about, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this was closer to 2 hours than an hour and a half. And for something that, when you kill the main villain, like a little bit over halfway through the movie, it's like, you would think that the movie would drag. But this one, it didn't really seem to suffer from that, and it had good moments in it. It was, even when things weren't happening and it wasn't as action, there weren't as many crazy stunts in it. There was still like story building or suspense or funny dialogue to keep the pace up.
Yeah, it's like, this movie is like 1 hour and 50 minutes, and that's just, a lot of action movies these days are like that long. So I think it was just the right runtime. But overall, what did you think of the film, like of the characters and the action and stuff?
Would you say you had a favorite or a least favorite moment in it?
No, not really. I actually think it's a pretty consistent film. All scenes are just okay or like good. Like they're not really bad scenes or they're not really amazing scenes.
Yeah.
Like a scene that really stuck out to me was the one where the Mac jumps into the air and like Jason Statham stabs him in the eye. I thought that was really cool. But really, it's also ridiculous, so it's not like it's an amazing scene.
Yeah.
Like, did you have a favorite scene or something?
I thought I'm kind of in the if you excuse the pun, I'm kind of in the same boat with you about it being just overall having the same kind of level of excitement like from beginning to end. And I couldn't really pick out a scene that would be my favorite. I would definitely know that this is not a serious movie. You know, this isn't like a science movie. This is a fun movie. This is something you go there if you wanna have a fun movie. This is definitely a good movie to see.
Yeah, it is. I actually really, this is just like last week's Dark, man. Like a movie I just pop in my Blu-ray player and enjoyed with like friends and stuff. But like overall, what did you think of the
So,
film, like of the characters and stuff?
The characters, I thought they're mostly good. I mean, of course, you have the types. You know, you have the action hero who won't do whatever thing um, again because there is an accident, and that kind of reminded me with Jason Statham's character not wanting to dive. Kind of reminded me of with Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone not wanting to climb again.
Right. Yeah.
That made me think of that, and then it had not many, but it did have a couple similarities to Cliffhanger, like the wacky. I want to call him Dwight Schrute because I'm a big fan of The Office, but Rainn Wilson's character being like totally overboard, and he seems nice, and he's also just really kind of crazy.
And also really a dumbass, actually.
Yeah.
Like he spends so much money on this underwater, sort of like I want to call it deep core because of the abyss, but like this underwater station, and he doesn't even know what it's for. Like he just accepted it or something. Like how did that even happen? Like how did he agree to do this without even knowing what it's for?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, try it out. Say, what is it, $1 billion? Yeah, I could spare $1 billion. We're gonna build some big, giant tube in the ocean. Let's try it out.
Do you have anything else to say about the Meg?
I don't really. What would you rate this out of 10?
Enjoyability, probably an 8, but like actually critically, like a 6.5 or something, or like a 6. Because it is a really entertaining movie, and I would rewatch this at some point. But other than that, it's not really that memorable except for some scenes, and really there's nothing much to the characters. Like I don't even remember what character died and didn't. What about you?
Actually, now that you mention, I don't remember any of their names.
No, exactly. Not even of the main character.
I don't remember no one's name. Just like one guy was a doctor. That's it. I remember like which type of character they played. You know, like there's the action hero, the woman who wants to impress her father. You know, the doctor who's overprotective, the crazy billionaire. but I don't remember any of their names. So it's almost like it's more of a game of Clue than a cast.
But what would you rate the movie out of 10?
What was that?
What would you rate the movie out of 10?
Honestly, I would actually kind of go a little bit high with this, and I would rank this an 8. Like you said, it's not memorable. It's not really memorable. It's just kind of like, you know, a shark movie, and it is pretty ridiculous. But it was just, to me, it was just a pretty fun movie. There's movies that I like, you know, but this one is just one that I really enjoyed. And probably a lot of that had to do with my mom freaking out whenever there's a serious scene going on. But I really did. There were crazy moments in it, and there was no moral to it. You know, there was no
Message.
Yeah, there's no message. There's nothing like you can really remember. Like in Spider-Man, you remember, you know, the swing scenes or whatever, or in Darkman, you might remember the last walk or some of the fighting. But in this, to me, there weren't any scenes I really remember that stick out, like you said. But it was just a really fun movie to make, and I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, you just remember a few parts of it. Like, oh, I remember the scene where all these sharks go to the Meg and eat him or something. Or like I remember the scene where the Meg is at the beach, but you don't really know the scene in detail.
Yeah. It's like I mean, like there's some sequences in Spider-Man I can almost rewatch them in my head.
Yeah.
So with this, all I can really picture is like just a shark with an open mouth just swimming toward a crowded beach. You know, not much else than that.
Anyway, make sure to join us next week where we'll be discussing The Abyss, which, as I just said, is my second favorite movie. If anyone is wondering what my first favorite movie is, it's The Shining. So yeah, be on the lookout for that, and we'll see you guys next week. See ya.
See ya.